My name's Jonathan Nevill and I'm speaking to you from Australia. I have previously put up a YouTube video called Choosing and Losing a Partner, and that video contains my experience over two marriages and many years. But I'm making this video because I've become increasingly concerned with domestic violence. Now, domestic violence is a problem in Australia and in lots of other countries. In my view, the seeds for domestic violence are started in the very early days of largely, let's say, boys at school. And I think it's not just a question of parental guidance, parental example, but it is also a question relating to the cultures that grow up at school. Now, these are cultures that the adults don't see. They're cultures between the boys after school, when they're relaxing, when it's just teenagers. And some of these cultures can be very bad. And it's really up to the boys themselves, the teachers, to change these very early cultures that are the breeding grounds for domestic violence. Now, having said that, this video is just about red flags. So, okay, you've grown up, you've left school, you're dating. What I'm going to talk about now, briefly, is red flags which should give you warnings that something is badly wrong. Now, let's say you've met somebody, you've been out a few times with this person, and he's jealous of the time you spend with your friends, jealous of the time you spend with your family, jealous of perhaps people who've been friends with you in the past. Now, that is a red flag. Now, another red flag is if this person, he's new to you, if he starts to talk badly about people. Now, my mother said to me when I was a kid, if you can't talk well about somebody, if you can't say something nice about someone, then don't say anything at all. Now, that's probably a good rule of thumb. But if somebody starts saying nasty things about his friends, his family, even about people in the media, in my view, that is a red flag. You've got to be careful. Now, another red flag is if he wants to control you. If you see any hints, and there'll be small hints at the start, hints that you may want to ignore because you've become attached to this boy. If you see any hints at all of controlling behaviour, that is a red flag. Now, another very obvious red flag would be violence. Now, generally you won't see this. You won't see emotional violence and you won't see physical violence when you start to date somebody. But if you do, if you just see a hint, a tiny hint, don't make excuses for him. Don't say, well, he was tired, or maybe he'd had a bit too much to drink. That is a red flag. Now, what do you do if you see a red flag? You get out of the relationship. There are plenty of other opportunities. Don't think about it. Don't explain yourself. You don't need to explain yourself. Just tell him that you've lost interest, you've got too busy, you've got other things to do. Just get out. You don't need to go in for a lengthy explanation. Now, while I've got your attention, I'll just make another couple of points about choosing somebody, because if you end up with a partner who is unsuitable, that is going to cast a shadow on your life, possibly a huge shadow. Choosing a lifetime partner is one of the most important things you can do in your life. Now, just think about leadership styles. There are really 3 leadership styles. There's a leadership style where you make decisions, big decisions together. Then there's a leadership style where one of you, maybe the boy, will want to be the leader in the relationship, and maybe you like that, maybe you want to let him. Or if you're a boy, maybe it's the girl who wants to be the leader. And again, that works for some people. It works really well for some people. But you've got to be aware of what will work for you. So just think about that, because the leadership style will not be evident to you in the early days of dating. I'll also say that you should be very careful of anyone who obviously lacks confidence in themselves. I know this seems a bit hard, but my experience is that if you build a relationship with somebody who is seriously lacking confidence, that is going to cause a lot of trouble later on. Now, I'll say something about very obvious things. The foundation of a good relationship, a good long-term relationship, is shared values and interests. Now, think about your religion. Does your religion match his religion? Does he want to have children? Does he want those children to have the same values as you would want? I'll also make a point about sex. Now, having a successful relationship is a bit like playing tennis. You can't expect to pick up a tennis ball and a racket and be a champion tennis player. You've got to have practice. And it's the same with relationships. You have got to have practice. So use relationships of different levels to learn not just about other people, but to learn about yourself, what you really value, what sort of needs you really have. So look, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. So, and I would extend an invitation to viewers. If you agree with things that I've said, if you want to send me a video of your experience, what your red flags were when you ignored them and got into trouble later, make me a small video and send it to me. It's you can contact me through my website, Only One Planet, but make the video in the same format that I use, which is full high definition. That's 1080 pixels by 1920 pixels and 30 frames a second. And that's the standard set on my phone. That's why I use it. Okay, so that's it. Goodbye and good luck.